Welcome to FT TV, powered by DailyFT. I am your host, Randima Atigala. Our guest today is a promising young professional who has been very passionate about raising the bar for Sri Lanka. He is Hashan Kure, Director Marketing and Development, Jetpins Hotels Limited. Ayuban Hashan, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Randima, for having me on the show.
Our pleasure. To start off with, Hashan, as a leading player in Sri Lankan tourism, how does Jetpins envisage to position Sri Lankan tourism in 2023?
Well, Randima, 2023 will be the year of recovery for tourism in Sri Lanka. As everybody knows, we've had 4 terrible years in tourism, starting with the Easter Sunday attacks and going on with COVID and the economic crisis as well, economic and political crisis. We've had a terrible time, so the next 4 years will be really to reposition ourselves as a destination of choice for travelers from around the world. So it will be mainly on bringing it back to that image that we have globally. So still, unfortunately, in some parts of the world, people are hesitant to travel to Sri Lanka because of the negative perception created last year. So now we're trying to bounce back from that and really reinforce Sri Lanka as a destination of choice. And also we are planning to work together with the tourism board and launch this global campaign, which we all contribute to through our tourism development levy. So all private sector parties contribute to that, and we are looking forward to launching that campaign this year together with our own private efforts, like companies like ourselves and most other big and small players have our own representatives in India, the UK and other parts of the world, where we really need to push the message across that Sri Lanka is open, Sri Lanka is safe, and it's a better time than ever. There's no better time to travel to Sri Lanka. So I think 2023, that will be our main goal.
Right, so the operative word is that Sri Lanka is safe.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So for the first time visitor or a regular visitor to the island, what top 5 reasons would you cite for Sri Lanka to be the place to visit this year, Hashan?
Well, I mean, even if you look at all the past comments that we've had from our guests and from travelers coming to Sri Lanka over the years, the number one reason to visit Sri Lanka will always be our people. The people of Sri Lanka, the most hospitable people in the world. Whether it's the service that you receive at a hotel or from your tour guide, or even if you just walk on the street and talk to somebody. I think our natural hospitality is what really draws people to Sri Lanka. On top of that, I think the second biggest reason would be the unique experiences that we offer, whether it's the beaches, the wildlife, the nature and wildlife, history and culture. Even our food is an experience on its own. So I think number 2 is that. Number 3, to visit in 2023, with all these changes in regulations around the world, I think the fact that we have absolutely zero COVID protocols and regulations currently, I think that is a huge plus, which we should focus on, because anybody from any part of the world can travel here without worrying about whether you'll have to take a PCR test or whether you'll have to get some form of insurance or vaccination. So those regulations are not there. I think that's another big reason. Number 4, I would say, is the increase in flight connectivities. As you know, I mean, with the travel advisories that we had last year, unfortunately, a lot of the airlines also stopped flying to Sri Lanka because of a lot of countries put in negative travel advisories. But now we are getting back to our full, flight schedules. Most of the leading airlines, including Sri Lankan Airlines, have launched new destinations and increasing their frequencies. So that's number 4. Right. And number 5, I would say, is value for money. Sri Lanka was always a good value for money destination, but now with our devaluation compared to the US dollar and other global currencies, tourists coming to Sri Lanka now get more value for money here, and I mean, that benefit is also a huge attraction to draw people to Sri Lanka.
5 very solid reasons. Right? So in terms of branding Sri Lanka, do you think there should be a more out-of-the-box approach than what is adopted right now, Hashan? I know we have moved far beyond the sea sand, the sea sand concept, which have been historically embraced, all these years. But do you think, like, comparatively, there should be like a more unorthodox approach?
Yes. Well, Sri Lanka has always, being an island, we can't escape the sun, sea and sand approach either.
Yes.
I think that will continue to be one of our biggest selling points. But we also have, marvelous natural wonders, archaeological sites, and also natural wonders like the wildlife parks and other activities that we can do, even whale watching.
Yeah.
Which Sri Lanka is probably the only country in the world
Yes.
where within a few hours you can see the largest mammal on earth, which is the elephant, and the largest mammal in the ocean, which is the blue whale.
Yes.
So we have these natural assets that we can promote. I think the mediums of promotion can also change a bit,
Yes.
even when it comes to the government authorities on how they promote Sri Lanka globally. I think still we are a bit restricted in sticking to traditional methods, which we've been doing for the last few decades, and I think now is a good time to, I think it's a bit late as well, but it's never too late. So it's, might as well change at some point. I think moving more on to more digital promotional methods, utilizing the options available now. And that's the easiest way to tap into a global market currently. So we might as well, start on that. There's a limited amount that we can do as companies, as organizations in the industry, but we all contribute to this large pool of the, promotions bureau's marketing fund. So I think that money can now be allocated more into different mediums of promoting the destination to show people that it's safe, that it's a great time to visit, and really target the consumers and change the perception that they have of Sri Lanka.
That's right. So my next question is actually connected to the previous one. So what are your thoughts about these so-called unconventional tourism products such as spiritual tourism, Ayurveda tourism, and even sports tourism?
Right. Yeah, I mean, these have been there for the last couple of decades. Even Jetpins ourselves, we have a dedicated Ayurveda health resort, Jetpins Ayurveda Pavilions in Negombo. And even if it comes to sports tourism, spiritual wellness as a broader subject as well, it is a growing trend globally, and it is something that will continue to grow. Even when it comes to adventure tourism, there's a lot of potential in, it's sometimes not the typical kind of, tourism that we would expect. You get people coming here doing cycling tours. And sometimes people coming to do cycling tours in Sri Lanka is not, we might think only backpackers will come to do those kinds of tours, but we get people in their 50s and 60s who want to, stay at luxury properties. They have the money to spend, but they want to travel the country by cycle or by foot. Like if you look at now, we have the Peko Trail, which was recently launched. And that is another exciting experience which not only caters to more budget conscious travelers, but it caters to people with a bigger budget to spend on staying at luxury accommodation, but experience in the country in different non-conventional way, like you said. So these are growing trends, and I think all players in the industry are working on it currently and need to continue working on it in the future to create more specialized experiences.
That's right. And also, Harsha, now we always, associate promotion of the country with the tourism industry.
True.
So they are synonymous.
Yeah.
But ideally, it should not be left in the hands of the tourism industry alone.
True.
So there should be a collective effort galvanizing all stakeholders. How do you think a more public consciousness could be created in terms of environmental protection and sustainable tourist destination promotion?
Right.
With the help of all stakeholders, including the general public.
Sure. So I think one thing we need to remind the people is, okay, let's say our main goal is currently to bring in more foreign exchange to the country. I think that's one of the key reason for our economic crisis is, the misalignment between our imports and exports. We were a very import dependent country, and now we need to move of a export driven economy. So to do that, we need to realize, okay, where are we getting the dollars from? So if you look at tourism is the lowest hanging fruit, in which the product and service is already set. We just need to get more people coming in. And that has to be sustainable in a way that, we can't go from just looking at number of heads either. We need to look at it in a way where, we give a very good value proposition to every tourist coming
like
here.
In
a holistic experience. So in that sense, I think we need to work together with different public sector. Like tourism is so multifaceted, and it can benefit so many different people that we can't only be dependent on the Ministry of Tourism to do that. There's the wildlife department, archaeology department, so there's even civil aviation, All these areas come into play. Then even things like, something simple like public transport.
Exactly.
Now
Yes.
even some of the tourists, like we've been traveling in public transport quite a bit, and we always see tourists traveling in the trains, in the buses, all of that.
Yeah.
I think, simple things like clean bathrooms, making sure that there's proper interpretation, communication, all these things need to be there. Then even if you go to national parks or national sites like Sigiriya, there's no proper interpretation.
Exactly.
From a tourist coming there, I don't really, like, even if a Sri Lankan goes, you won't be able to read anything to get information about
That's
the place.
true. Yes.
And visitor management at places like Yala, those are critical points
And
as
some
well.
places are confined to just a name board.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So even to be a sustainable destination, we need sometimes the problem is over visitation. So places like Yala, we need to manage that, and
Exactly.
we can't discard Yala saying it's over visited. We need to manage it and make sure that it will be a destination in the viable destination in the future as well. So there are different areas where, again, it's not only the tourism department or Minister of Tourism or stakeholders in tourism that can change that. It has to be together with the wildlife department, the people in the area. They also have to be educated and shown that if we really just focus on this, we are going to lose out in the future. So we have to make sure that, like you said, it has to be sustainable for the long term, and all these stakeholders have to be together.
That's right. So in terms of infrastructure and other support systems, I think you mentioned several in your previous answer. What areas do you think need more teeth to enable a tourist a better experience of the country? And I think you've already mentioned
I think
transport, railways, all that.
So most of those are the areas that I think we need to focus on. So again, if you look at the customer experience now, it's not just going to a beach hotel and staying for a week and going back.
That's true.
They are, the travelers are, there are different areas, more empowered. All the information is available online. So we need to create that, experience for everybody. So whether it's from the time you get into the airport, make it a hospitable welcome at the airport. And again, working all your way throughout the entire customer journey, coming back to the airport. So whether it's at the, like I mentioned, at national parks, at the modes of transport, the different sites, all these things have to be looked into, and that's how I think we should focus on, together with all the stakeholders. Like I said again, not only the tourism stakeholders, but everybody involved, to make sure that we give the best offering to travelers.
Travelers, right. So Sri Lanka also has many untapped tourist attractions, Hashan. Now, for instance, Ratnapura with its gem trails, and then maybe Matale with its spices in abundance. So does Jetpin have a roadmap to expand to these areas as well? I might sound a little bit tricky.
Yeah. Well, Randima, unfortunately, well, of course, with the impact of the last 4 years financially, we really need to now focus on consolidating our existing properties. And as a company, we've taken a decision not to, look at expanding too much in the next few years, because, we made thumping losses in the last 4 years. So we need to first focus on, consolidating ourselves from a financial position. And then maybe in another 5 years' time, we can look at different experiences. But, we have been doing that in the past. Okay, the examples you gave are probably still untapped, but let's say, places like Vallavaya, Potuville, Jaffna, which were untapped, like Jetpin as a company, we've always been, pioneering discoveries, going into new destinations and showing that to the world. So whether it's, from my grandfather's time, he, built the first proper hotel in Gaul, and that, redefined Gaul over 25 years ago with Jetpin Lighthouse. Then, more recently, like I said, we've been going to Vallavaya, showing the agricultural parts of tourism, with the introducing, collaborating with the farmers and going to different agro-tourism concepts.
Valley Mada.
Yes, Valley Mada as well, where we recently acquired a 100-acre tea estate with 2 beautiful villas. So like that, we are, slowly expanding, and we have been doing that in the past. It's just that that pace will, of course, reduce in the next few years, because we really need to focus on consolidating ourselves from a financial position.
So we have hope still.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Okay. What state-private collaborations do you propose, Hashan, to offer better employment opportunities and also enhance professionalism in the hospitality sector?
Well, that's a I mean, a bit of a tricky question, but I think one way to answer that would be if you look at how we can tap into a larger, pool of qualified people to join the industry or any other industry. I think maybe the private sector and public sector, we have been doing that in the past as well, and we are doing that, in small scale. Maybe, working together, introducing tourism and other industries, other key export industries to people from maybe the rural parts of the island where they don't have the same accessibility to education as those in urban areas. So giving them more opportunities, and they can also reap the benefits more of tourism and other industries. So I think that is another area in which the private sector can share our experience and our knowledge in the industry, and maybe do the training with the support from the government and development agencies. Like I said, we have been doing that in the past with support mainly from development agencies, but there's of course more work to be done. And I think that's a continuous flow.
Yes, I think the canvas is very large and there's a lot to be done.
For sure, for sure.
So I need not to tell that Sri Lanka tourism has braved many, many storms. So it has gone through wars, natural catastrophes, terrorist attacks, and the worst economic crisis ever.
True.
So, and to add to this burden, you have the brain drain, with many young professionals, even in the hospitality sector, going in search of greener pastures. But as a young professional, you have always been very vocal about having faith in the country and then raising the bar for the country. So what is your message to any fellow Sri Lankan in this context, Hashan, to help Sri Lanka go to the next level?
Well, Randima, we were born here. Sri Lanka is the only country that we can call our home. And leaving, it's not that we didn't have the opportunity to leave either. We could have if we wanted to, but and it's not like my father or anybody else has forced us to stay here. But I always thought, this is our country. This is where we were born, and if we can make a difference in the world, if we can make any difference in whatever that we do, this is the only place we can do that. And this is the only place where if we do that, we have some form of pride as well, because this is our country, this is our motherland.
Yes.
And if leaving is, I would say, not the solution at all, because it's not perfect. Definitely it's not perfect. There are a lot of challenges, some financial challenges now because of the historic mistakes that were made, political challenges. I think globally there are political challenges. It's not perfect anywhere in the world. Maybe the degrees of certain things are different, but you have to live with it and hope for that change. But if you want to really make that change, you have to be here.
Exactly.
You have to stay here and fight for that change.
You need to be
You
the
need to
change.
hear, yeah, exactly. We have to, leaving is the, it's you're escaping that problem. But if you really want to, make a country that is a profound country in the future, that we can be proud of, a country that our children, our grandchildren will grow up and say that we are proud to be Sri Lankan. Stay here and make a contribution to make that difference, so that you can be a proud, when you're in your 70s, be like, I did something for my country, and my children, grandchildren, and the next generations continue to stay here because of the work that we are doing now. So I think that is a message that I like to share with the younger Sri Lankans.
That's a very, very profound
just
message,
give them
Hashan.
some confidence, and basically not to give up, stay on, and keep fighting.
Yes, a very profound message indeed.
Thanks, Anna.
So to wrap up, Hashan, now you come from a family which prides in everything Sri Lankan. From the Sri Lankan smile to the Sri Lankan skill, I think you all take pride in our Sri Lankan system.
Yes.
So having said that, what do you think is the best part of being a Sri Lankan?
Honestly, for me, it's the people. I think we are blessed in a way that I get to travel around the country because of our work, and we are not only restricted to meeting people in the city. When you go to the villages, when you go to the different parts of the island, the people, sometimes you randomly walk in and they see you and smile.
Yes.
Like I have also traveled to other parts of the world, and I have never experienced that. That genuine warmth of Sri Lankan, that spontaneous hospitality, I think that is something we are really blessed with as a people, and we are privileged to have that in our country, and we should do our best to keep that going. We have to give a reason for everybody to keep smiling, and again going back to the previous message as well. For me, being a Sri Lankan, that is what really inspires me to do that. When we had to, give more confidence to people to stay on, keep working, keep fighting, and make more people smile here.
Right, okay. So thank you very much, Hashan, for your wonderful insights into Sri Lankan tourism in 2023 and beyond, especially at a time when the country is put on a trial like never before.
Yeah.
So thank you once again, and on behalf of FTTV, I thank you again for your time, and I wish you all the very best in all your efforts in promoting this beautiful island of ours.
Thanks, Randima. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
So that wraps up today's edition on FTTV. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon.
For more latest news, subscribe to FTTV.